what I want to ask you, Professor Reed. I've been wanting to ask you this for a long time.
Yeah.
So I agree with you 99.9% on all of the critique of identity politics.
Okay.
You are like, obviously, the grandmaster of the identity politics discourse, and I'm with you. But I have observed that we take a different approach. My approach is to say in an article, let's say about identity politics, identity is important. People value their identities. People have been marginalized on the basis of their group identities for hundreds of years. And it makes sense for people to want to organize around those identities to restore the balance and challenge. And I do all of this pablum up top so that no one can accuse me of being racist because being Black doesn't make a difference. I definitely have had reviews that said, if Brianna weren't a white man, then I'd take her more seriously.
Right.
Truly, this is its comment on Daily Kos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And my feeling is that you get more flies with honey. And I know that so many people have so much respect for Obama and the legacy of the Kings are such that it is, and people who listen to this podcast were mad at me for the last episode because they said I went too soft on King.
Oh, okay.
my feeling, not everybody, but some people.
Yeah.
My feeling is that it is useful to be able to make that case, which I share with you about weaponized identity, in a way that doesn't make people feel like the racialized harms that they've been programmed to prioritize, and which I think are legitimately deeply felt by folks, because I do think that there's a certain kind of, antagonism. There's a certain kind of cruelty that one feels about being discriminated against on the basis of something, something that you really can't change, something intrinsic.
Right.
I'm always trying to figure out how to respect that and acknowledge that and like not inflame people so much that they can't hear me when I say, okay, but not Neera Tanden. Okay, but not Kamala Harris. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wonder when, there are different people who are engaged in different projects. I'm like out here on a campaign trying to talk to people on a bus. And you are writing academic papers and talking to classrooms, and it's a different kind of audience. But I wonder if you ever, how do you feel about the tightrope walk that I'm doing, and what's the decision making that you're going through about like coming out guns blazing like F MLK?
well, no, not
MLK's family. MLK's family.
Right, because they have an pack of leeches. Well, a lot of it has, I think, has to do with the audience that one is trying to address, and how. I'll say there's something else too, but I'll get to that in a second. Regarding audience, like I'm not really trying to win like the hearts and minds of the identitarian Black PNC, right? Because for me, it's kind of like, doing that is kind of like trying to win people back from the Proud Boys or from the demolition movement.
Yes, please.
You're on point, because I was about ready to.
We trying to let it ride.
Start us off.
People, go ahead, John.
John, start us off because you ain't been here in a while. So come on, John, lead us.
Ayo, stop it. Ayo, man. He's talking about well, first of all, left wing dog whistling. He's basically calling Black people that want to put they people first. It's left wing dog whistling. Identitarian. You know, we heard. I know where I heard it first. A left person heard it. A left winger said it first. Was Sauger. Say, here come the identitarian this, identitarian that. When it's the dynamic is different between our culture. Our people and other peoples in this country, as we all know.
Yeah.
But like, I think what they about to get into is shit with this identity politics shit. Like, Breed Joy is trying to find like Adolph Reed. Like how do you try to like diminish, like how do you put your people down to be in the class struggle basis, but like don't do it in a way that I'm putting my people down? This is the question she asked Adolph Reed. Adolph Reed, like, we just put your people down.
And she was basically asking like, oh, so I just try to manipulate Black people by saying shit that they would want to hear, but I don't mean that shit. Y'all caught that too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bud, you want to go next? Or John, were you done? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you.
No, I'm done.
Go ahead, Mud. You want to jump in there?
You said it. She basically said, I just say this stuff because I know it's a way to manipulate Black people by talking about this stuff, but I don't actually mean it. And then she goes on to say, like, it's weird because like she's talking out both sides of her mouth when she's talking about this stuff. Like she
Mhm.
understands the idea of people mobilizing around the injustices that have been placed on people who share their identity. She understands that, and she understands the concept of people basically creating politics to right those injustices. And then she tries to compare it to, like, I guess, tokenism, because she says near a tandem or whoever, like, that's the same thing. Like, those people getting elevated.
Near a tandem and Barack Obama. She said Barack Obama too.
And Kamala Harris. She said Kamala Harris too. Like,
They're all
Yeah,
the same
so,
person.
like-
I'm convinced.
No,
Go ahead, I'm
keep
sorry,
going,
man.
man. Keep going.
Yeah, these things aren't the same thing. Like, if we're talking about injustices around redlining, Barack Obama getting elected is not this, like, that's not the solution. That's not, these are not comparable. They're not in the same realm. So, like, it's just a way to minimize any fight against racism. But they think they're justified in doing it because I guess they're going about it from a different angle. They're fighting injustice from a different angle. So therefore, any injustices around racism are irrelevant.
Mud, so can we flesh this out a little bit further, or maybe MG, you can answer this. So they did change identity politics from, because originally I thought identity politics was like what we were doing, right? It was like, you know, you focus on getting things for your group, your demographic, and you know, that's what you're fighting for. But then now it seems like they've turned it into like tokenism, which I think it's not, you know, Bree. I think it's the Democratic Party in general that's done that. But when did this happen?
I think this goes hand in hand with a theory that I sort of kind of started fleshing out today on Clubhouse of all places. I think no matter how we feel about the ADOS movement did more or less a soft reset on race and politics, right? Who and what we are as descendants of slaves came to the forefront, and nobody knew how to handle it, right? So the left was depending on this issue to go away. That's been their whole plan for like 8 years, right? Make race go away and make and bring class to the fore. And this, what we're seeing now, is the backlash or a new type of reset, so they can get back on top by pushing race down and bringing class to the forefront, so they can go on with their project and leave us buried in the dirt. And I think this is more people. This is more of, I mean, our whole show is basically watching these people scramble as a reaction to what the ADOS movement created, and there's really no putting that genie back in the bottle. Did I kind of answer your question, Samantha, or did I?
Yeah, you definitely answered my question.
Yeah. So I think again, I think this is just them. This is the backlash to what the ADOS movement wrought. And we were all part of it, and it was a crushing blow to American politics, and nobody on either side of the aisle or either side of the spectrum has recovered, right? And we've got to keep pushing to keep them from recovering, right? So they really don't know what to do with us, which is a good thing.
We're not going to take it.
Exactly.
Hey, I guess I wanted to also answer that question because
my answer was good enough, man. See,
no,
nigga, shut up.
Here it goes.
Yeah, I agree with you about all of that.
I'm just messing with you, but
I just think it's been a tactic that, you know, like John's been bringing up the dog whistles on the left. This is like their tactic where they say identity politics and people get in their mind that they're talking about tokenism, when really switch it at any time to talk about any discussion about racial injustice. Like that's the so, like, especially with Adolph Reed and Brianna, that's the game that they're really playing. Like they're out there in the front line, and they can dismiss any claims about racial injustice because they're Black people. But also when they do it and hide behind buzzwords like identity politics, you're not really clear what the fuck they're actually talking about. you think they're talking about tokenism or symbolic shit, when really they're talking about ignore any racial injustice. Let's just talk about some socialistic class shit.
Mm-hmm. Some class shit that doesn't even help poor white people.
Yeah, they're just trying to hammer this genie back in the bottle, but this genie's out. He ain't going back in until we get our 3 fucking wishes.
Yep, and don't let me convince poor white people that they deserve money too. Then the country be all kinds of fucked up.
All kinds of fucked up.
Have angry poor ass white people and a bunch of poor ass angry niggas. That is a revolution.
Facts. All right, family, we're moving on.
If you've made the commitment, then you made the commitment. And my objective is to try to connect with people before they make the commitment, or people who haven't made the commitment, which is, and frankly, I spend more time talking to working people than I do.
And they don't mind when you say things like
Obama
sucks, or I mean, things that we all agree with. Mm-hmm, please.
This is kind of what I was saying earlier of a very dangerous mistake people, and I'm going to say mostly white leftists are making, that, oh, well, the way to connect to people of color, workers of color, is you got to use race language, you got to do, and it's like, that's actually not the problem. I mean,
but we're not talking about race language right now. We're talking about kind of taking aim. Look, my mother was a Green Party voter her whole life. Obama was the first Democrat she ever voted for. But it took until recently.
That is telling.
I want to pause.
Voting green is a privilege.
But do you see how she just spent the conversation? She just spun it, right? So he wanted to get into, he wanted to get in and actually talk about race and this and that, and then she's spinning it now to get it back on the people. Mm-hmm. So Mud was 100% on point. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
and he was about to fuck up anyway. Go ahead, Mud. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was also going to talk about Adolph Reed. And the shit where he's like just comparing anyone who is concerned about fighting for racial justice with like being the equivalent to, or I guess the black version of the Proud Boys. Like, this is insanity. Like, I don't understand how he gets to just do this because we're concerned about racial issues. The fact that it's even race is even a factor, we're the same as Nazis. It's this weird thing that he's allowed to get away with, and no one checks him on it, and they just skip past it and act like it's all the same conversation about tokenism and symbolism, when he has a deeper disdain going on with this shit.
Yeah, and they just want to give us different symbols, you know what I mean? And they want to be the tokens, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's wild. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. Mud, I'm sorry, you done, Mud?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, John, what you got, man?
Yeah, man, I feel like y'all right, man. Like, you already know, y'all cooking them, putting them on the grill. But man, like, I think what you said about Adolph Reed, kind of like basically what they're trying to do is act like specific black. When it could be like we're talking about getting real shit, tangible shit specific to us, though. They compare that to tokenism. Yeah, and only us. Like, I mean, just for. Because that's what all other groups do. Like, this is just, you know what I mean? Like, this is just natural. This is just how America works. Like, we just focusing on ourselves, and we understand that if we focus on ourselves, we supposed to get, then the country elevates, because if you elevate us, then all that equality and all that other shit, you feel me? Like, you living up to your standards now. You feel me? As what you promised motherfuckers now. So now other people going to be like, yo, give me my, what? You gave the niggas what? So now, see that we trying to open up. We don't say the quiet part. We don't say the loud part. You feel me? Like, we don't want to say it out loud. It's the quiet. It's the purpose. You know, we don't want to say it out loud. You should know what we fucking trying to do. Like, but Adolph Reed, like, I feel like that's right. He's trying to call us an identitarian. It's basically saying like, yo, black people that's on that get black shit, they kind of like neo-Nazis and the whites that stormed the Capitol. This way, you feel me? This is what they projected, but he black too. So the white left like, oh, thank God Adolph Reed said it, because I always felt like this. It's too black sometimes. And, oh, so black. And Adolph Reed comes and makes me feel better. And oh, I love Adolph. And that's why they come at us like, man, fuck Adolph, man. Nobody want to hear this shit, man. What Uncle Reed talking about, man. That's all I got to say. You already know you know what he's doing. He know what he's doing. Bree know what they doing. And the white left know. We know why they love him. You know what I'm saying? We know why y'all love him.
That's it. And that's all. We know why they love him. We are not on the same team. Like, I don't rock with Brianna, because Brianna's out for self. Like, her politics don't reflect poor black people. They reflect her own politics. which I get it because as a Black woman, but again, like Mud said it before, because I said originally I was like, well, but they put her out front but she trying to segue herself as like, no, you should listen to me because I'm Black and I'm going to talk to the Black people for you. But you don't know how to speak to me. You don't know how to speak to me as a Black person who cares about poor Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, all this identitarian and Proud Boy shit, it's the same shit all over again. Trying to connect us. It's the same shit we hear from people. Everybody that comes at us the same way. At the end of the day, it's all the same shit. Trying to connect us to Trump, trying to connect us to the right wing, trying to connect us to the Proud Boys, trying to connect us to the Minutemen. All this shit. It's all the same shit. They're trying to spin our fight for liberation into some sort of right wing project, right? In order to undermine it. And at the end, when it's all said and done, this is all because our argument is so damn strong. Again, we're in the backlash phase. They're trying to we're in the back pedal phase because they tried to back and we pushed the hell back.
Nice.
Go ahead.
But it took until recently, until she was like warning me, oh, Brianna, like maybe don't go so hard, like caveat it a little more if you're going to talk about John Lewis.
I think you definitely have to be smart about it. But again, I mean, I think the reality is, though, a lot of what we're saying, again, in the context of conversations in the union, we're really not even talking much about identity politics per se. We're just straightforward issues. And it is, it is like, instead of thinking, well, if we're in a city like Philadelphia as a DSA chapter, let's get involved with fighting austerity and public's, defending the public sector and the labor movement, that is going to automatically put you more in a working relationship with people of color who honestly are not going to be really caring.
Why do people always talk about the labor movement like we don't have trouble getting jobs and being in unions in the first fucking place? Like, why do they act like such a large part of our population isn't unemployed, even in the best of times?
Get him, Sam. We face double A unemployment in the white community every time. I'm
just saying, they just always talk about this union shit, but I've read these Black labor books. We've been doing these dance with these fucking white people in these unions forever. And y'all always sell us out at the end of the day. And that's why the labor movement in the United States is as fucked as it is. Because y'all stay fucking over Black people and they use that to fuck y'all over.
Yep, every time.
Exactly.
Every time.
Books have been written. Like, you can read Workers on Arrival. You can read the other book that I keep reading, which is like, what is it, like Black Labor History or something like that? I'm about to find it. I'll send you the book cover, Mud.
Yeah. Mud, what you got? Go ahead,
I totally agree with Sam. Like, when they talk about labor, they talk about it as if, especially when they're talking about it and trying to have this conversation about racial issues, they talk about it as if we're having the same participation in the labor market as other groups, when we're not. And we all know it because usually we end up in, jobs where we're the only Black person there, or we're among a small minority of Black people. And it's usually we're in different offices and all types of shit going on. But even beyond that, like when you have a union job, I don't know why they act like everyone participates in the union. There's a lot of Black people that go into these union spaces and realize they're racist too, and then don't participate in the union. Like, they might have the union job and they might show up at work every day under the same protection of the union, but they don't participate because they see the bullshit. They want to see this thing through the tunnel vision of their class analysis, but they're just alienating us. That's all this shit does, and they keep doubling down on this shit, and it's getting them nowhere. And I wish I could have a serious conversation with one of these motherfuckers, but I think they're so brainwashed that even if I convince them that they're going to completely lose the support of Black people, they will push for it anyway.
I agree, Mud, but I mean, it's very strange that between the dynamic between you and I'm going to be the one that's a little more dour than you. This is new.
Oh,
yeah, this is new
it's
territory.
getting real.
This is new territory. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, they know. I honestly believe they know they're fucking us over, and I think most of them are fine with it. Bottom line, I mean, as y'all know, I've been dealing with these folks for a long time. Every once in a while, a few of them would peek their heads up and say, yeah, this is fucked up. But then they go right back into that bubble, Sorry, MG, gotta go. Like their mom called them back. You know what I mean? But yeah, they know. Honestly, I don't think there's any hope for the left. What purports to be the left in the United States anyway. Sorry, Mud.
I'm just saying, like, I think it's like, I understand from a certain perspective, them just being like, well, I don't give a fuck about Black problems because it doesn't affect me personally. Mm-hmm. Like, I actually understand that perspective to a certain degree. But this thing where, like, I'm not going to be able to even get my political thing across because I can't get the support of this certain group of people that I need. So, like, I'm not going to even try to force through my political agenda because I'm just going to sabotage myself because I can't bring myself just to the realization that I need these people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's real. That's real. It's something real shit, man. What's Sam at, sis? Where you at, sis?
She don't want to talk to us.
No, I'm over here agreeing with I'm over here amening and humming. No, because we went through a lot. We were all on Twitter fighting this battle out during this last election, and we went through hell with these fucking white leftists, these fucking people of color leftists, and none of them gave a fuck about us. Very few did.
Yep, so very few did.
We know what it is, and then they're mad at us when we turn around and say we have no friends. But it's like, no, we should all be together. No, because when we try to get you to be with us on our issues, you tell us to go fuck ourselves. So fuck your issue.
Exactly.
Fuck your couch, nigga.
Yeah. and that's the thing. We're in a new space where such a large chunk of us are so vocal about this fuck you shit. Because we are all on some fuck you stuff. You know what I mean? Because these motherfuckers have gone years without listening to us, and we went along and said, you know what, we're gonna be cool with these folks. I mean, myself in particular, I was like, hey, among the people on this side of the spectrum, Bernie's policies are the best for my people. I'm gonna ride with that. But when an opportunity arises for them not only to become better on our issues, but to pick up a large proportion of a group that's the most important group for presidential politics in the United States, at the very least, you force the Democrats to the table because you're taking a chunk of their votes that would make them president. You know what I mean? If you're not going to jump over that political broom, that means you're cool with my genocide.
That's it. And they are. Yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of people just don't care. Like, if we die out, they don't care. They don't. And that's fine, but fuck your babies too.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. What? Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to U.S. Southern plantations. Lineage, Jim Crow and mass incarceration. Redlining lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one. Cousin mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire. Anti-black. We pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country to win. You need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out we're really about justice and really who fake.
Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.